Ambassador Taehyun Kim took a deep breath as he looked at the massive doors of the Galactic Council chamber. Earth's first diplomatic mission had finally reached this moment after 5 months of travel across the stars. Behind him stood General Jaiwoo Park and the rest of the human delegation, all wearing their best formal attire. "Remember," Taehyun said quietly, "we represent all of humanity today." The doors opened with a soft hiss. Inside, the chamber stretched up in a vast dome. Seats rose in rings around a central platform. Different alien species filled these seats. Some had scales, others had multiple limbs, and a few glowed with inner light. At the highest tier sat 7 figures that made up the council leadership. "Humans of Earth," announced a translator device, "you may approach and present yourselves." Taehyun led the way to the platform. The gravity felt slightly wrong, making his steps awkward. He cleared his throat and began the speech he had practiced countless times. "Honorable Council, we bring greetings from Earth. We are honored to be considered for membership in your galactic community." A tall blue alien leaned forward. "We welcome Earth's representatives. As is standard protocol for new species, please share your defensive and offensive capabilities." General Jaiwoo stepped forward with a data tablet. She activated it, and holographic images appeared showing Earth's military technologies: tanks, aircraft carriers, missiles, and advanced fighter jets. "Our planet maintains several defense systems," she explained. "These range from conventional firearms to nuclear deterrence. Our most advanced weapons include hypersonic missiles, railguns, and satellite-based defense systems." A ripple of sound passed through the chamber. Taehyun couldn't tell if it was interest or something else. Then he heard it clearly: laughter. It started from one section but spread quickly. An insect-like alien stood up. His exoskeleton gleamed under the lights, and his 4 arms moved in what seemed like an expression of amusement. "I am Admiral Rock of the Viridian Confederacy," he clicked through his translator. "Am I understanding correctly that your species still uses chemical explosives and metal projectiles as weapons?" Jaiwoo frowned. "Yes, our ballistic technology is highly advanced and accurate." More laughter echoed through the chamber. "Advanced?" Rock continued. "My dear humans, we abandoned such primitive methods thousands of years ago. You're essentially throwing rocks very fast." A small purple alien from another section spoke up. "The Viridian speaks truthfully. Most council species use energy weapons, gravitational distortion, or neural disruption technology. Physical projectiles are rather outdated." Taehyun felt his face grow hot with embarrassment. He hadn't expected this reaction. Earth had spent decades developing its military technology, only to discover it was considered child's play among the stars. Admiral Rock projected his own hologram, showing sleek ships that fired beams of light and created shimmering force fields. "This is modern warfare. Our shields can stop any energy discharge. Our weapons can disable enemy systems without even damaging their hulls." Taehyun spotted something strange. Many council members seemed impressed by Rock's display, but a few smaller alien delegations looked uncomfortable. One green-skinned representative caught his eye and gave what might have been a warning look. "The humans are charming," Rock continued, his mandibles clicking faster in what Taehyun now recognized as amusement. "But hardly ready for full council membership if they still rely on combustion and kinetics." General Jaiwoo stepped forward again. "With respect, Admiral, different evolutionary paths lead to different technological approaches. Our weapons are effective for our needs." "Of course they are," Rock said in a tone that suggested talking to a child. "And children's drawings are effective for their level of development too." The council leadership finally intervened. "Thank you for your presentation, Earth delegation. We will consider your application for observer status. For now, you are welcome to establish an embassy on Council Station." As they left the chamber, Jaiwoo walked stiffly beside Taehyun. "Well, that could have gone better," she muttered. "Did you notice the smaller delegations?" Taehyun asked. Not everyone was laughing. Later that evening, as they sat in their temporary quarters, a message arrived. The green alien who had caught Taehyun's attention wanted to meet privately. His name was Jiho, from a planet called Nuri. When they met in a quiet corner of the station's garden, he spoke quickly and quietly. Do not believe everything the Viridian said today. His people have conquered 3 systems in the past decade. They always mock a species before they strike. Taehyun felt a chill. Are you saying they might target Earth? Jiho looked around nervously. I am saying that sometimes what others call primitive might simply be different. And different can be dangerous to those who aren't prepared for it. As Taehyun and Jiwo returned to their ship that night to send a report back to Earth, they shared a worried look. We need to prepare, Jiwo said quietly. Just in case our primitive weapons need to be used sooner than we thought. 6 months after the humiliating meeting at the Galactic Council, Commander Do-hyun Lee sat in Seoul's underground military command center. His eyes were tired after reviewing defense plans for the 20th time. Earth had been busy since Ambassador Taehyun and General Jiwoo returned with warnings about the Viridians. Commander, you should rest, said Lieutenant Jisoo, sliding a cup of coffee across the desk. Do-hyun rubbed his eyes. How can I rest when we don't know if or when they might come? The warning sirens started before Jisoo could answer. Red lights flashed across the command center as operators rushed to their stations. Multiple objects appearing in orbit, shouted the sensor officer. 12 large vessels, energy signatures match Viridian designs from our database. Do-hyun's coffee cup crashed to the floor. Full alert. Contact all defense commands worldwide. On the main screen, 12 warships materialized above Earth. They were beautiful in a terrible way, sleek curved hulls that shimmered with energy fields, like deadly silver fish swimming through the blackness of space. They're broadcasting, said the communications officer. The main screen changed to show Admiral Rock's insect-like face. His mandibles clicked rapidly as he spoke. Primitive humans, his translator conveyed in a flat tone. Your planet has resources we require. Your surrender will make this process easier. Resist, and we will take what we need anyway. You have 1 hour to decide. The screen went dark. Do-hyun activated the emergency broadcast system. All defense stations, this is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill. Deploy Operation Slingshot immediately. Around the world, missile silos opened. Fighter jets scrambled from runways. Ships at sea prepared their weapons. The military forces that Admiral Rock had laughed at 6 months ago were now Earth's only hope. When the hour passed, the Viridian ships began their descent. Smaller landing craft separated from the main vessels, heading toward major cities. Target locked, reported a missile battery commander from Alaska. Permission to fire? All stations, weapons free, ordered Do-hyun. I repeat, weapons free. Protect your sectors. The first missiles launched from sites across Earth. The Viridians didn't seem concerned. Their shields shimmered as they continued their descent. Then something unexpected happened. The missiles passed straight through the alien shields and exploded against the hulls of the landing craft. 3 Viridian ships spiraled out of control immediately. Direct hits confirmed, shouted the tactical officer. Their shields aren't stopping our missiles. On the command screen, they watched as a Viridian landing ship crashed into the Pacific Ocean. 2 more were struck by fighter jets that had launched conventional air-to-air missiles. Impossible, screamed a Viridian officer whose transmission was picked up. Their primitive weapons shouldn't penetrate our shields. Admiral Rock's face appeared on the emergency channel. For the first time, he didn't look amused. What trickery is this, humans? Your kinetic weapons should be useless against our energy shields. Do-hyun didn't bother to respond. Instead, he ordered all forces to press the attack. In orbit, the situation grew chaotic. The Viridian warships tried to adjust their shields, but they were designed to stop energy weapons, not physical objects. Earth's missiles continued to cause damage. In Washington, D.C., a Viridian craft managed to land. Soldiers emerged wearing armor that glowed with energy fields. They fired plasma weapons that melted through buildings and vehicles. They seemed unstoppable until an old M1 tank rounded a corner and fired its main gun. The shell tore through the Viridian ranks, their personal shields as useless as their ship shields against physical projectiles. Similar scenes played out around the world. The weapons the Viridians had mocked were now their downfall. Regular bullets from infantry rifles could penetrate their personal shields. Artillery shells destroyed their advanced hover tanks. By nightfall, 7 of the 12 Viridian ships had been destroyed or forced to retreat. The remaining 5 pulled back to high orbit, beyond the range of Earth's missiles. In the command center, Do-Hyun watched the tactical display with exhausted relief. "Get me Ambassador Tae-hyun," he ordered. "And contact that alien who warned us, Jiho from Nuri. I think we need to talk about forming some alliances." Later that night, Admiral Rock glared at his tactical officers from the bridge of his damaged flagship. "How could this happen?" he demanded. "They use primitive kinetic weapons." "Sir," replied his science officer nervously, "it appears our shields are calibrated for energy weapons. The humans use physical projectiles that simply pass through our defenses. We never considered this possibility." Rock's mandibles clicked furiously. "Ready the main fleet. If these humans want a real war, we will give them one." But deep inside, doubt had crept in. Perhaps the primitive humans weren't so primitive after all. Dr. Myung Kong hadn't slept in 36 hours. The physicist's desk was covered with data tablets, coffee cups, and half-eaten energy bars. She had been studying the damaged Viridian ship parts recovered after the first battle. Now, finally, she understood why Earth's weapons had worked when they shouldn't have. The door to her lab opened as General Jaiwo Park and Colonel Hyun-Woo Choi entered. Both officers looked as tired as she felt. "Please tell me you have something," said Jaiwo. "The Viridians have retreated to high orbit, but our satellites show more of their ships arriving. We need answers before they attack again." Myung stood up, her legs stiff from sitting so long. "I figured it out," she said, pointing to her main screen. "Look at these readings from their shield technology." The screen showed complex energy patterns in wavelengths. Myung tapped a section, enlarging it. The Viridians evolved on a planet with high radiation levels. Their entire technological path developed differently from ours. Their shields are designed to stop energy, plasma, lasers, radiation, because that's what they've always needed to defend against. "But not physical objects?" asked Hyun-Woo. "Exactly," Myung nodded. "It's like they built the perfect umbrella against rain, but were throwing rocks." Their shields simply weren't designed to stop solid matter moving at high speed. Jaiwo's eyes widened. "So our primitive kinetic weapons pass right through their defenses like they aren't even there," Myung finished the sentence. "The physics of our weapons makes them invisible to their defensive systems." Hyun-Woo grinned for the first time since the invasion began. Time to dust off the old artillery manuals. Within hours, the discovery spread across Earth's military commands. Weapons that had been considered outdated for modern warfare became precious resources against the alien threat. Tanks, artillery, even ships with conventional guns were suddenly vital. In a hidden base beneath the Rocky Mountains, engineers worked quickly to modify old cruise missiles for spaceflight. In China, thousands of soldiers readied anti-satellite missiles originally designed decades ago. Across Europe, mothballed artillery pieces were brought out of storage. 2 days later, the Viridian fleet made its move. 20 ships descended toward Earth, their formation more cautious than before. At Russia's Plesetsk Cosmodrome, Colonel Anna watched the countdown. "Launch," she ordered calmly. Old intercontinental missiles, modified to carry conventional warheads, rose into the sky. The Viridians detected them coming but seemed unconcerned. Their shields glowed brightly as they prepared to absorb the energy. But there was no energy to absorb. The missiles, carrying nothing more than shaped metal warheads, passed through the shields and exploded against the hulls. 4 Viridian ships fell immediately. In orbit, a small team of astronauts piloted modified space shuttles. Instead of advanced weapons, they carried something simpler: thousands of ball bearings. When released, this cloud of metal spheres drifted into the path of a Viridian cruiser. The balls tore through its shields and ruptured its hull, venting atmosphere and crew into space. On the ground, the battles were equally one-sided. In Delhi, Viridian ground troops advanced with confidence until they met an old mechanized cavalry unit. The alien personal shields stopped energy weapons completely but did nothing against the simple metal bullets fired by the aging tanks. At a farm in Kansas, a Viridian scout ship landed near Brian's home. The farmer watched from his window as alien soldiers approached his house. When they were close, he raised his grandfather's hunting rifle and fired. The bullet passed through the alien's shield as if it wasn't there. In the Seoul Command Center, Do Hyun received reports from around the world. Everywhere the story was the same: conventional weapons were devastatingly effective against the Viridian technology. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Jisoo, "we've captured 3 intact Viridian ships and dozens of their weapons." "Get them to Dr. Kong immediately," Do Hyun ordered. "If we can understand their technology, maybe we can adapt it to our needs." In her lab, Myung began studying a captured Viridian plasma rifle. The weapon was centuries beyond Earth technology, but it had one critical weakness: it was designed by beings who had never needed to stop physical projectiles. "It's not that we're primitive," she murmured to herself as she worked. "We're just different. And different isn't always worse." By the 4th day of fighting, the remaining Viridian ships retreated beyond the moon. Earth had won the first real battle, but everyone knew the war was just beginning. In a secure conference room, Ambassador Taehyun met with representatives from the Nuri and Talon, other primitive species who had been dismissed by the Galactic Council. "The Viridians will return with new strategies," warned Jiho of the Nuri. "But now we have time to prepare, and something they don't expect." "What's that?" asked Taehyun. "An alliance of the underestimated," Jiho replied with a smile. "Sometimes being different is the greatest advantage of all." Captain Jaehyun Yoon floated silently in the darkness of space. His Special Forces team drifted behind him, their modified spacesuits showing no heat signature. Ahead loomed the massive Viridian command ship, its purple energy shield shimmering against the blackness. "Remember," Jaehyun whispered into his comb, "we have 20 minutes to plant the charges and get out. Move only when the shield gaps appear." 3 months had passed since the initial Viridian attack on Earth. In that time, humanity had studied the captured alien technology and formed alliances with other species who had been dismissed by the galactic powers, the green-skinned Nuri and the crystalline Talon people. Dr. Myung Kong had made an important discovery about the Viridian shields. "They pulse," she had explained during the mission briefing. "Every 14 minutes, there's a 3-second gap when they reset. That's your window." Now Jaehyun checked his timer. 10 seconds until the next pulse. "Get ready," he told his team. The shield flickered, and for 3 seconds, it disappeared completely. "Go!" 6 human soldiers pushed forward with their maneuvering packs, slipping through where the shield had been. Once inside, they activated magnetic boots and landed on the hull of the massive warship. "Subin, find us an entry point," Jaehyun ordered. Corporal Subin moved to a maintenance hatch and attached a device developed by Talon engineers. It bypassed the security system, and the hatch slid open silently. Inside the Viridian ship, the hulls were tall and narrow, designed for the insect-like aliens. The team moved quietly, their weapons ready. Earth's alliance had learned much about Viridian technology, enough to know that the ship's main shield generator would be near the central core. "Contact," whispered Sergeant Miho as 2 Viridian crew members turned a corner ahead. The team pressed against the walls. Their camouflage suits, adapted from Nuri technology, bent light around them. The Viridians walked past, unaware of the intruders. After 15 tense minutes of navigating through the ship, they reached the shield generator room. Inside, a massive crystal pulsed with energy. "Plant the charges here," Jaehyun said, pointing to key junction points. "Remember, we're not trying to destroy the ship. We just need to disable their shields." The explosives they carried weren't conventional bombs. They were specialized devices designed by Dr. Myung that would disrupt the frequency of the shield generators without destroying them. "Charges set," reported Subin. "Timer active." "Now we get to the bridge," said Jaehyun. Meanwhile, across the solar system, the counteroffensive had begun. Earthships, built in record time using a combination of human and alien technology, emerged from hiding places among the asteroids. They were crewed by galactic standards, little more than missiles with engines and small crew compartments. But they carried weapons the Viridians couldn't stop. From Mars orbit, General Jiwo watched the tactical display. "All ships, commence attack," she ordered. Admiral Rock, aboard his flagship, detected the approaching Earth vessels. "Primitive ships," he clicked to his officers. "They think they can challenge us with such basic technology?" But his confidence faded when the first wave of human ships launched their weapons. Simple tungsten rods accelerated to incredible speeds. The metal projectiles passed through the Viridian shields and punched holes in their hulls. "Adjust the shields," Rock ordered frantically. "Change the frequency." His officers worked desperately to adapt their defenses, but they had never encountered this problem before. Their technology was designed to stop energy weapons, not solid objects moving at high speed. Back on the command ship, Jaehyun's team reached the secondary bridge. They encountered resistance, 3 Viridian officers who fired plasma weapons at them. The humans responded with simple firearms. Their bullets passed through the aliens' personal shields, dropping them quickly. "Bridge secured," reported Miho. "Accessing their systems now." Through the viewport, Jaehyun could see the battle unfolding. Earthships, small and agile, darted between the larger Viridian vessels. Nuri ships had joined the fight, their ancient but effective railguns firing continuously. Even the Talon, with their crystalline technology, had committed forces to the alliance. "Message from General Jiwo," said Sabine. "The Viridian fleet is in disarray. Admiral Rock's ship is being targeted specifically." Jaehyun smiled grimly. "Tell her we're in position. The charges will detonate in 3 minutes." When the disruption device is activated, the shield generator crystal stopped pulsing. Throughout the massive command ship, energy shields failed. On the main bridge, Admiral Rock received the news with horror. "Shields down? How is this possible?" A human face appeared on his communication screen. "Ambassador Taehyun." "Admiral Rock," said Taehyun calmly, "your fleet is surrounded. Your flagship is compromised. We offer you one chance to surrender." Rock's mandibles clicked in fury, but he was a military strategist. He could see that the battle was lost. As Viridian ships began powering down their weapons, Jaehyun received new orders: secure the command ship. The war is almost over. The counteroffensive had succeeded. Earth and its allies had proven that being primitive didn't mean being weak. It meant being unpredictable. Ambassador Taehyun Kim adjusted his formal Earth uniform as he prepared to enter the Galactic Council chamber for the second time. 1 year had passed since the Viridian invasion of Earth, and much had changed. This time, he wasn't alone or uncertain. Beside him stood representatives from the Nuri and Talon civilizations, once dismissed as primitive like humans, now united as the alliance of emerging powers. "Ready?" asked Jiho, the green-skinned Nuri diplomat who had first warned Earth about the Viridian threat. Taehyun nodded. "More than ready." The massive doors swung open. The council chamber looked as impressive as before, but Taehyun noted something different: respect in the eyes of the gathered species. No one was laughing now. Admiral Sujin Kwan, newly appointed as Earth's military representative, walked confidently alongside Taehyun. Her uniform displayed both Earth insignia and the new Alliance emblem. The 3 diplomats took their positions at the speaker's platform. The council leader, a tall blue alien, rose from the highest tier. "The council recognizes Ambassador Taehyun Kim of Earth, Ambassador Jiho of Nuri, and Ambassador Zealous of the Talon Collective." Taehyun stepped forward. "Honorable Council, I bring news. The Viridian Confederacy has signed a peace treaty with Earth and our allies. They have withdrawn from our territories and agreed to formal reparations for their unprovoked aggression." Whispers spread through the chamber. Many council members had believed Earth would be quickly conquered like other primitive worlds before it. Instead, the humans had not only defended themselves but forced one of the galaxy's military powers to retreat. From the Viridian section, a new representative stood. Admiral Rock had been removed from power after his defeat. His replacement, a younger female Viridian named Sola, spoke carefully. The Confederacy acknowledges its misjudgment regarding Earth and its allies. We have learned that different evolutionary paths lead to different technologies, and that our assumptions were flawed. Sujin stepped forward. Different doesn't mean inferior, she said firmly. It simply means unfamiliar. Our kinetic weapons seemed primitive to you because you evolved in a high radiation environment where energy shields were necessary. We evolved in a different context, developing different solutions. On a large display, images appeared showing the technological innovations that had emerged from the brief war. Earth engineers had already begun combining traditional human weapons with captured Viridian technology. The Nuri had contributed their knowledge of stealth systems. The Talon had shared their crystal computing technology. The Alliance of Emerging Powers requests formal recognition from the Council, Taehyun continued. We also propose new protocols for technological exchange and military disclosure that respect the diversity of approaches across species. In the back of the chamber, Dr. Myung Kong sat with a group of scientists from across the Alliance. Her work on adapting Viridian shields to stop both energy and kinetic weapons had earned her respect throughout the galaxy. Now she watched as the Council considered this new balance of power. The Council leader spoke after a brief consultation with other members. The Galactic Council recognizes the Alliance of Emerging Powers as a sovereign political entity. Earth, Nuri, and Talon representatives will be granted full Council membership. After the formal proceedings, Taehyun found himself in the Council gardens talking with representatives from species that had previously ignored humans. Many were now eager to establish trade relationships and technology exchanges. It seems our primitive status has been revised, he commented to Sujin. She smiled. Fear and respect often look similar in politics. Across the garden, Captain Jaehyun Yoon, whose Special Forces team had disabled the Viridian flagship, was speaking with military attaches from several council races. They listened carefully as he explained Earth's combat tactics. The concept of physical projectiles had sparked a galaxy-wide reassessment of defensive technologies. Later that evening, at the New Earth Embassy on Council Station, Taehyun raised a glass with his Alliance colleagues. To understanding, he toasted. May we never again mistake difference for inferiority. Jiho raised his own glass. And to humanity, who reminded the galaxy that innovation comes in many forms. The next morning, as Taehyun prepared for meetings with trade representatives, he received a message from Earth. President Min Jae had approved the new Galactic Defense Initiative. Under this program, Earth would share its primitive weapon designs with allies while incorporating advanced alien technologies. Already, factories were producing hybrid weapons that combined the best of both approaches. The message ended with words that made Taehyun smile, remind the Council that Earth is eager to learn, but we will not forget the lessons of self-reliance. The stars welcome the humble, but they respect the strong. As he looked out at the spectacular view of distant galaxies from his embassy window, Taehyun reflected on how quickly things had changed. 1 year ago, aliens had laughed at Earth's weapons. Now those same weapons had helped reshape the power structure of the galaxy. Sometimes being underestimated was the greatest advantage of all.